Hello kittens, welcome back to Sid the Cat. So, today is Wednesday. Usually we stream in the afternoon, but the current heat wave in London has prohibited that. So we're a bit late, sorry for that. So in previous days, we've been working on our app, which is called SeeWhy. So let's just bring up SeeWhy and have a look at what we've got so far. So the aim of SeeWhy is to be a sort of note-taking and markdown editing tool, but a little bit more than that. Okay, so it's basically a desktop application predominantly, but we may be able to port it to mobile later. I only see this really working on tablets. I don't think it'll work on a mobile. But if you push, command space, you get your Spotlight search in Mac, and I've just added it so that when you push control space, you get your note-taking application, right? So you've also got keyboard shortcuts for everything. So the whole idea is that if you're in the middle of coding something and you want to take a quick note, you shouldn't even have to use your mouse, right? And we still have some issues connecting this Vue.js component, this element component to our keyboard shortcuts. We might have to rebuild this element ourselves, but as you can see, it's pretty simple. So I think it's probably better that we rebuild that. But thing is that the general ability to update the markdown, and preview it is there, and we can also just save it to the database, and that's all working. So instead of trying to polish everything, I'm going to focus on getting sort of a low fidelity version of the app feature complete. And so the next stage is being able to go down here and send this note, right? And what I want to happen, now if you're anything like me, you're trying to get on this whole social media bandwagon, and if you're trying to start a business, you do need to get involved with social media, unfortunately, and it does take a lot of time. So my sort of dream for this is that I should be able to write a little tiny note like this and send it off, and that'll get posted automatically to Twitter, Facebook pages, any relevant subreddits, whatever, right? And we'll be able to configure that later. So that's sort of what we're building. So we're taking a step back from the UI, and we're going to build the actual publishing part of things. And so that means we're going to be doing a bit more sort of back-endy stuff. And what I thought about was I'd like to, when you install this application, I'd like it to sort of just come with a built-in CLI so that you can manipulate the program and script it using the CLI. And then if we build a really good CLI, then when we click send, we can essentially just delegate the sending to the CLI tool, right? And then we're not really repeating ourselves, and we get all this extra awesome functionality for free. And I don't know about you, but I absolutely love a good CLI. Gets me hot and bothered under the collar. Good CLI. So that's what we're doing today. Last time we got our basic standard in reader. So what I expect to be able to do, in fact, what I might do is just alias SeeWhy to be yarn actually no, bin run, right? So what I plan to be able to do is to cat a markdown file. So let's grab a markdown file, readme.md, right? I want to be able to cat that and then pass it to my CLI and say ingest, right? Oop, I think I need to be in the CLI directory for that to work, right? So, okay, so we got an error. We did have this working previously, but I think we made some changes for our tests. So in the previous app development stream, we did actually have a bit of an issue, and that was we struggled to stub the standard in of this command. So I'm not entirely sure how we're going to do this. I guess what we'll do instead is maybe just test the command with a file flag, and then just assume that like standard out will use the same mechanism, and then in fact what we can do is just write an acceptance test later. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so this ingest command, well, let's run our test, and see what breaks. I think quite a lot was breaking because, yeah, we couldn't really get those commands stubbed properly because of the way OCLIF seems to do standard in, which was unfortunate. Okay, so cannot read, probably restore. Okay. So I think we might just want to stub some things. I'm just trying to think, what do we want to achieve here? It is still very, very hot. Okay. Okay, so we only have this one test. JSON type error, cannot read, properly restore of undefined original file std mock. Okay, so what's happening here? Standard in.restore. Yes, I think the standard in thing is just broken. Okay, so let's have a look at the OCLIF library. Now, if you're wanting to check the project out, it's at this address here on GitHub, commune, COMYUNE/CY-CLI, commune SeeWhy CLI, and that's open source and with an MIT license, so anything we build will be open to the public to build upon and use. Okay, so we can't do this, unfortunately. So let's just provide a file instead. So maybe dash input. Maybe I'll do std standard in, right, as a replacement for the standard in our tests. So because we for some reason none of the mocking libraries seem to work. So we're going to just pretend like we're doing standard in by using a flag. And what are we going to run here? So we'll just get make a new function here, and we'll call this fixture file path, and we'll get the fixture path much like the other function below it. And what we'll do, we can actually just call this fixture file now. Fixture file contents. Okay, and then what we're going to do here is we're just going to remove that, and this is going to be fixture path, and so we're going to return that path, and then we can consume this function from the function below it, right? So we can say fixture file path, passing it, we'll just call this path. Otherwise, we're getting very verbose, I think. Oops. All right, and that looks like it can zip up into one line. Okay. And what we want here is the fixture file path for what we're using down here. Strict violation. Maybe just simple.md. Okay, cool. We might want to do a test watch as well. Cool. All right, test -- watch is gonna watch our file system for changes and then run our tests every time something gets saved. So I shouldn't have to keep running that, and we can get some instant feedback on what we're doing wrong. Which, if my experience tells me anything, is everything. But we'll see. Okay, so we're saying the unexpected arguments -- stdin, right? So now we're just going to add that to our flags, and it's going to be a string, and we're not going to define a char character for it because I don't expect people to actually use this, I guess. I suppose people will want to use it if they're not used to pipes in Linux, but Unix. Okay, so the description is path to input file acts like standard in, right? And what's happening now? Did that test run? I'm not seeing anything change. Okay. Get standard in is not a function. And that's in ingest number 1. Okay. That's a bit odd. Up there. Okay, so here we can just say if, well, in fact, let's just console.log the flags and see what's in there. I think we want to update our flags to give it like a type. Let me just find the documentation on that. So command flags, description, hidden, false, multiple, other, setting this flag multiple times. Nope, don't want that. Default value of environment variable. Default to value, okay. Yeah, we could do that as well. So did I make it a string? Yeah, I did. Okay, cool. That test watch command doesn't seem to be working right now. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another helper function. Oh, that's not going to work there, is it? Okay, that's that. We can use this JSON output to log. So let's just use that. This.json output, and we'll just put the flags. No. Cool, so we now have standard in equal to the path. So that's what I expected. So what we say is if, let's say this dot get standard in, right? Or get input. Okay, and then we're going to move this down here and call this get input, but there's going to be like a branch, right? So we'll pass the flags in, or yeah, we'll pass the flags in, and that will be flags. And so we can say if flags dot standard in, right? Then do this, otherwise, and what we'll do is we'll say let input up here, and okay. Otherwise, input is going to equal the await of fs jetpack dot read flags dot standard in, right? Okay, and then we're going to return the input like so. Oh yeah, and we need to save that. And that needs to be async, right? And then on line 8, we need to say input is equal to the awaited value of this .get input. Okay, await is only valid. Okay. I might just I don't know why this watch function is not working very well. Oh, I know why. It's because we're using NYC. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to fix that by going into our package JSON and adding a new test watch command. Oh wait, this is the wrong. Okay, hold on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new folder to Workspace, and that's going to be the CLI only, right? So even though CLI is in this directory, I want to be able to collapse it and just focus on this. So that's why I'm going to add it to, like, isolated to the workspace. And cool. So let's grab this thing here and replicate it. That's, how did we still end up with that? Okay, this one. Then SeeWhy, yep. All right. Test. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new script here, test watch. We're going to get rid of NYC because it's not really that useful. Does Mocha even support watch? Oops. And let's see if that works. Okay, and if I change and save, oop. Oh man. Mocha watch. I just realized I've got some like canned air. That's going to help with the heat, I think. Just cool down the bottom of my MacBook a little bit. Okay. Watching test files. Stop. Dash watch, right? Oh dear. JavaScript, man. Okay. Okay, I guess we'll just run our tests manually, like cavemen. All right. So let's just define our fs jetpack is equal to acquire fs jetpack. Okay. Cool. All right, so it looks like we're getting the correct content, but we're not passing the title, which, so this is content without, all right, so, oh, that's working already. That's fantastic. Yeah, probably, I don't like giving up like that, but I probably should have given up sooner and worked out a workaround earlier instead of spending an hour trying to get JavaScript libraries to work properly. Okay, so we're going to use a different fixture here in this test. I guess strict violation is in fact the correct one for this test. And so what I mean by, what I want it to be able to do is basically run the command by default. It just doesn't care. Like if you're missing a title, who cares, right? However, I want to add a strict mode. So like if you're missing certain required fields, the CLI will just barf out errors at you. So I think that's what that means. Cool, and now what we need to do is we just need to mock the date. Let's just see if there's a JavaScript mock date. Okay. So yeah, that's better. Okay, so we want to do something like that, but I think we're going to need to use Synon again. So the terminal's gone a bit weird. Let's create a new one. There we go. All right, we've actually got a cursor now. All right, so I think that's this test framework that we've got. I might turn off this NYC as well. Like we don't need it every time we run our tests. Maybe the dash watch needs to be earlier. I don't know. Okay. And then what we'll do, we'll add this script and we'll call it test coverage, right? With the NYC, right? If we need the coverage later, but we'll probably just do that in the CI. Okay. So it looks like we don't need that standard in reader either. And okay. All right. Yarn test. A little faster there without the NYC. Cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to say yarn add Synon. Is it Synon or Synon? Yeah, it's just Synon. Cool. Oops. I have to remove that now. I didn't add it to the development dependencies. So what we do is we do add -D for development. Right, so now that's going to be all installed into our development dependencies, and we're going to just require that up here. And you might ask, why aren't you using the new import syntax? Because we're building a CLI tool that is low level and we want to have the least tooling around the tool as possible. So we don't really want to use Babel or anything like that unless we really, really need it. And honestly, like, there's nothing wrong with this, right? Like, I don't know. Although we are using a weight. I don't know. This seems to be the way that the CLI, the documentation is written for OCLIF, and so I'm just going to go with that. Okay, so let's figure out Synon again. So let's just say Synon stub prototype constructor Synon stub prototype constructor. Oh man, doesn't work. Okay. Okay, I quite like that. Cool. So what we want here is stub date and I don't know, return object. Oops. Cool. I mean, what we could do, so we could pass the date and just check that it's the current date within some sort of window, right? Like if the date is within 10 seconds of now, then it should be right, maybe? I don't know. And then we don't have to stub anything. Oh no, that's not going to be easy, is it? Dot prototype dot, what are we calling on this? Let's bring the test down the bottom. Blunk. And give us a little bit more room to code and have a look at this. New date now. Okay, cool. So what we just want to do is we just want to stub the now function, right? And in reality, what we want to return is 2020 01 01 0 0 0 0, right? Let's hope that this works. This is where it all started to go wrong, guys. Oh. It's not quite working, is it? So if we console.log here and say now, date now, then so it's not getting called. Okay. Oh dear. Okay, let's have a look if there's synon stub date. Okay. Use fake timers. Okay. That's, yeah, sorry. I knew that. I've done that before. Okay. Okay, so really what we want to do is, what we're going to say here, we just make that a constant, right? And that's just going to be start of 2020. Start of, no, I was going to make a joke, but it's getting old. It's getting old already. Okay. Sweet, start of 2020, and then what we're going to do is we're going to say the clock is equal to use fake timers, and we're going to just pass in that constant right there. It's going to be a constant itself. We don't need all this shite. And then we may as well just return that and collapse that into a line. And then we can say after each. And what are we going to do? Actually, we need to say let clock stub, right? Actually, so we're going to, and then delete that and supply it up there, and then up here we say clock stub dot restore, right? So that's just going to make sure that we restore the time after each test. And I think we can just probably do it before all and after all, right? I assume Mocha's not going to complain about that, but I can't remember. I haven't used. Ah, yeah, sorry, I forgot. I think, I don't know whether it's worth switching to Jest. Like I like the framework a lot better, but I think that all of the OCLIF helpers are using Mocha, and so we'll sort of miss out on that. Although our issues with standard in show us that actually the helpers that would be missing out on, not all of them work. So okay, so we're doing February for some reason. Oh yeah, of course, it's because for some reason the year is the integer, and then for some reason the month starts at 0, but the day doesn't. I don't know, JavaScript. Cool. All right, so now we can just make a perfectly reasonable assertion that this date is going to be correct, right? And now we've got our first passing test. Cool. And no, we didn't pass. Why didn't we pass? Just like timeout of 500 milliseconds. Okay. Should we just not do that? Okay, screw it. We're getting rid of this test framework. Cool. All right. So we're gonna just remove our node modules file and reinstall. We live dangerously, guys, but now let's yarn add -d and we'll just add jest. Oh, we made a mistake somewhere here. All right. Alright, so let's just run through the jest setup. Can we just let's just see if we can just jest it. God damn it. Where's my compressed air? Here's a little bit for you, MacBook. Okay. Thankfully, there's a massive storm coming to London in the next few days, and that's going to relieve all of the high pressure, and we'll be able to stay inside and code like the recluses we are, and the temperature will be normal. Cool, so can't find module chai. Good, because we don't need it anymore, because we have a test framework that actually comes with some proper expectation libraries. So let's get rid. Oh, I guess OCLIF test. Yeah, that can go. Okay. Test.standardout is not. Oh yeah. Testing OCLIF with jest. So I told myself that I was going to be really good on stream and just like write tests. But I just feel like the tooling's making it really difficult. Okay, so we want something a little bit like this, right? So let's just paste that in there and have a look. So we're going to let this equal to standard out content, and we can just initialize that as an empty string for now. right? Instead of calling it result, result's just such a empty name for that, whatever that is. Oh, so it's actually going to be an array. Okay. And then let's bung that in there and bung that up there. Okay. And then we can just move this down to here. I'm already making a mess of this file, but we'll clean it up soon. Alright, so the standard out content is going to be equal to an empty array, and we're going to describe SeeWhy ingest, and before each we're going to stub the clock so that we always think it's the 1st second of 2020. We're then going to use jest to spy on the standard out write event, and we're going to provide a mock implementation where instead of pushing to standard out, we're just going to push that value to our standard out content array. Right, and I think, trying to think how we can clean this up. We'll probably have to just copy that, I think. That's fine. All right, and so that dies, and that dies as well. Does just have a built-in clock mock? Clock mock. Let's have a look. So we might even not need timer mocks. Yeah, it does. So we won't need Synon either. Will it run all timers? Okay, let's say just mock date. Okay, that's a little see, yeah. Okay, we'll just keep it like how it is with Synon. I think Synon's actually a little powerful, more powerful than Jest in terms of mocking. Okay. So the start of 2020 goes in there, then at the end we restore everything that we mocked, and then our actual test, it prints a ingested JSON version of the file, right? And we're gonna say, I'm just gonna save this as command result and log it just to see what we get back and if we can make any assertions on that. And then we expect the std out result, was it, or content to equal, right? And we expect it to equal like something like this, right? Shonk. So we expect it to equal this JSON, the JSON output of this object, right? Which should be pretty similar to what's there. Cool. So we don't quite, we need to move this up here. Oops, what happened there? So we delete this line, let's plonk it there, delete that, combine it. In fact, we probably just plonk it like this here. Okay, close the array. All right, so that's going to be our command, and in fact we want to require out the command itself now. So we'll require ingest command equals require dot source, is it source commands? Yeah, source commands ingest. So the first few tests are always the most painful, guys, and that's it. It'll make you not want to test. The first few are so painful, as you can see, but once you get on a roll, once you get a template going, you start just knowing the basic structure of how the tests work. You set up all your helpers and you start getting better and better at writing tests, and then it just skyrockets you for the long-term productivity, right? That's why we've spent a lot of time getting our tooling and tests right, because like I know that if this works, well, if this does what it says on the box, I'm going to be using it every day, like all day, every day. I'm going to use this tool if I can get it working. And I think if I can use something like this every day, there's other people that are going to be using it every day as well. So that means we're going to need to maintain this mother, right? So that means tests. Okay, so we've required, why is that? What is it bothering me about? File as a common JSON MA 20 is a common JSON MA. Yeah, I don't mind. Convert away, bro. Cool. All right, so right, and then this can die. Oh, need some more compressed air. And a little bit for the MacBook. All right. Okay. So if I look at this, does it look like it will? No, we're missing a brace, I think. Yep. I think there's a possibility this might pass. 30%. No. Can't find module. default. Is that what it was complaining about? No, it's not even finding the module, so okay, so we are currently, oh no, we need an extra. Let's move this down here. So we got our libraries at the top and our local modules underneath. Okay, so we're in the commands directory. We go up one to test, up again to CLI, down to source. Oh. Okay, cool. I gotcha. Sneaky ingest wording. Alright, now what's the next one? Test command. Yes, that's not going to run because this is going to be the ingest command with a G this time. I see your tricks. %50 chance of passing. No, okay. Async callback is not invoked. I want to just return a promise. I think that's cleaner. So I guess we get a done here, right? We could just use promises. I don't know. I kind of like promises. I know the async is all fancy and new, but I don't know. I find it more error prone. Okay, so let's just call done here and see if that works. I mean, it wasn't working previously in Mocha, but I think that was a shortcoming of Mocha, to be honest. Something was going wrong. Unless our command isn't actually ingest command.run. Okay. Okay, let's have a look at how far we get. Okay, so we expect this to be 1. I know this is a little brute forcey, but and then we expect it to go into get. This.pass is not something we control, so we're not going to worry about that. So then we expect to get input. So let's plonk in a 2 there, and then we expect standard in to go to fire 3, and we definitely don't expect this to happen, so X. And then we read the file and we return input, right? So then we expect a 4. Oh, hey K-Dizzle. I'm glad to hear it. I'm trying hard to provide some quality content despite the heat. Okay, so now we're going to get a 4, right? So we expect that to go there, and then this dot ingest, is that going to be an async function? No, that's fine. I might just, okay, so that's going to be like a 5, right? And then we go this.json output, and that's the 6 there, right? So bets on which number we get up to. Okay, hold on. So I think that's going to work. And just, I think we're going to get up to 3. I think it's something to do with the file system interactions. Unless, all right, bets are in 3. Nothing. Okay. Oh, I know why. Of course. Oh no. So we don't even get to that point, right? Do we get inside the test? So we say minus 0, and then this is going to be a 7. Is it? Yeah. So I guess that means the command, we're running it async in an async function, so I'm not sure what it's complaining about. Okay, shit, we're not even getting the, we're not even entering the, what? Or, hold on. It's this, right? So that's unfortunate. We can't, we'll have to console.error instead of console.log if we're asserting on the, oh no, it's easy. 0, 1. Okay, so we don't even get past that. All right, so what we can do, right, is we can say, this is a little weird, we can say that old write is equal to process dot standard out dot write, and then here we can bring this in. Here we can just use the old write with the, let's use full words. I always like to tell people, developers, you're not paying, this isn't a newspaper personal ad, we're not paying per character, so let's use full words. Okay, so I think that is showing a little better what's happening. So now we can still stub the standard out and record it. Oh, let's see if that still works. Yep, cool. All right. So we're getting to 1. So the get input is not even. That's so odd. All right, let's console.log the flags. and see if we're not perhaps losing our mind. Okay. So this is swallowing. If we watch if we watch the test framework swallows the standard out, so we can't console log. Okay, you know what? I'm starting to feel like I might just use the promise syntax, right? So we say ingest command.run.then, and we're going to get the command result. Oh, hold on. Before we do that, I'm curious. I wonder if setting the command result is actually going to change the way await works. If there is no return value for that function, does that mean that the VM just waits for something that it never gets? No. Okay, so that was one possible reason we were screwing up. So we've eliminated that. So we're now going to return the promise instead of using async, and we're going to say then what we get back is going to be the command result, or it might be nothing. We don't know. And here we can log the command result, and then what? We make our expectations, and we don't need to even call done, I don't think. Okay, I might also just check the documentation for running commands programmatically. Okay, so if we don't stub standard in, okay, so if we don't stub the standard in, do we still get this hang? Yes. Okay, so it's not that. What else could it be? What else could it be? Oh shit, it's actually this pass. It's not even getting past this pass. What if we awaited it? I don't know. What? That's so odd. We shouldn't need to be async to pass flags. Okay, well let's sanity check ourselves, right? And just cat a test file into the fixtures simple pipe that. Part of this is making me want to just write this in Ruby. Problem is, like, Ruby's not very good at being multi-platform. I mean, we probably could have finished the whole CLI by now if we were writing Ruby. I have some industrial fans arriving from Amazon tomorrow. But until then, we're using canned air to cool down. Oh god, okay. So the pass command. I swear to god we're doing that correctly. Is it because... Okay, hold on. So let's open up OCLIF and just look at these flags. It's useful to declare a custom flag that can be shared. Here's the example. Okay, yeah, we might end up doing that. Right. This dot pass. My CLI. Exactly what we're doing. It's not async, right? So why is that hanging? Running commands programmatically. Huh. Calling commands directly. Run. And yeah, it's an array. This we await the run command. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, okay, so let's just test it. So SeeWhy ingest. Let's just pipe. Oh, we can pipe it to bin run in the meantime. 1 flags 2 x. Cool. That's kind of what we expected. Get standard in, and then this get standard in. It's up there, mate. Look. It's not a function. Is that because... that's right. So we expect that to be standard in dot read, right? Okay. Cool. So the code's working, the tests just aren't working. Okay, so and then if we provide the path the other way around, so we're going to say run ingest, and then we're going to pass a standard in command for fixtures, sorry, tests, test fixtures, simple, and it works perfectly. Okay then, Azure. I wonder now. I really wonder. So I'm guessing it's this old clock stub, right? So maybe hold right. Okay, so if I remove the Synon clock stub, does that work? Oops, yeah, it still works. Oh yeah, no, sorry. The test. So there we go, maybe. Oh. Okay. So cool. To equal. So what we can do is we can actually just cool. Command result is undefined. Cool. No one cares about the command result. I didn't expect to. Okay, so it's this mocking the timer was what was holding us back. Okay, I know how to fix this. I know how to fix this. Okay, so what we do is we re-enable this spy, right? And then what we do is we take the standard out and we say const outputted output JSON is equal to JSON.pass. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass the standard out. Oh no, that was fine. Okay, so, and we're just going to join that content with a new line, right? And actually, I'm going to call this lines, standard out lines, right? Because these are items in an array, and so let's make that obvious. So these are the standard out lines. We're going to push the value. We're going to call the old write value so that we can actually see our debug logs, and then we're going to take those lines that we outputted, join them up, pass them as JSON, and we're going to expect the output JSON to equal, and at this point we don't need to do the JSON output, we just equal like that, right? Okay, so that will fail because the date will be wrong. So what we want to do is we want to grab jest that's not jest. I've decided I'm not putting up with these this menu bar popping up all the time. Just put it in a new desktop instead. I really hope they fix that in macOS soon, because I like the full screen mode, but having the UI constantly jump around on you, it's just frustrating. Okay, so if we go back to jest, I think, let's have a look. What we do is we expect array containing, no, object containing to match object. That looks very close to what we want, I think. All right. So to match object, okay, let's have a look at what this looks like. A subset of properties. Yep. Okay, cool. So we're going to say, well, it should match at least those properties, and then at the end we can pass the date. So we can say date dot pass output JSON dot date, right? Const, and we'll say this is equal to the printed date is equal to that, and then we just expect printed date to dot what's it called? Epoch. JavaScript date. I should say just expect date between JavaScript date to integer get time. That's right. Okay, so we say if we get the time, right? So we expect that time to be between, to be, that's in chai, I think. I don't think it's in jest. Expect to be close to. There we go. So that's only floating point for approximate equality. Argument limits the number of digits checked after the decimal point. Well, why can't you do that, but for integers, guys? Okay, well, let's define a, well, let's see, just define custom matcher. Okay, yeah, let's do this. Maybe not, it's looking pretty complicated. Okay, all right, I know what we can do. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a new helper function for our tests, and we're going to say difference time difference from now, right? And we're going to receive a date, right? And we're going to say const, well, we can just say date.getTime minus new date.getTime, right? So basically that's now. In fact, we have now in our test, don't we? Oh no, that's another one. Cool. And then we're going to call math.abs to get the absolute value of that difference. So it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. And now we can finally say we expect the, well, here we can say that's the time difference from now. No, time difference is equal to the time difference from now, right? Passing that date, and then we expect the time difference to be less than 1,000, 10, I don't know. Let me just figure out what this means. Number milliseconds. Okay, so how many milliseconds do we expect this to take? I think it should be within 1 second. And in fact, that's a fantastic name for this variable. 1 second, right? Otherwise we just have a random number that means nothing to anyone. So let's call this 1 second, and it's going to be 1,000, and let's put the units next to there as a comment, right? Cool. And I think we can actually move this down here into this context just to clean it up and just show that there's a sort of separation between these in terms of scope. Okay, so the time difference is going to be the time difference from now of the past date that gets printed out, and we expect that time difference to be less than 1 second. Okay, and we failed because we are printing a whole lot of crap to the console, and frankly that's got to stop. So let's just clean up our crap. Toll. This is content without a title. That's fine. So content without a title. We just made a small mistake in our expectation, and you know what? That's pretty small, so we can't quite fit it up there, but right. I think we've just written that looks really similar to me. It looks so, oh, it's a new line. Okay, cool. Alright, so it's gonna plonk a little new line right there, and date.getTime is not a function. Are you sure? I have JavaScript documents that tell me otherwise. So I guess date is not coming in properly. Okay, so let's log out the date here and just see what we're getting. Oh, I think it's time for another squirt of compressed air. Cleans your keyboard and saves you in a heat wave. Okay, so our date is just the time already, which is I suppose good. How did it become a time already? That's odd. So date.pass I mean, fine. If that's what you want. I mean, we could just log out to the error. Yes, look at that. Okay, so let's just fix up our linter so we are no longer using Mocha. And I don't think we're using Unicorn either. I think I managed to give myself a bit of frostburn with that compressed air. Okay, ESLint plugin Unicorn. Yep, I removed it. Oh yeah, so let's get rid of that. Cool. And let's just make sure that crap's not in our packages anymore. ESLint. Nope. I don't think so. I don't even think we need this anymore. Config exo space. Alright, let's get rid of that one as well. Cool. Alright. So let's figure out, I might just delete this, whoops. So this test is probably not worth anything because it's using the old format. This we're not using, this we're not using, this we're not even using. Okay, so this can go up here. Right, so I mean, it's quite a complicated test for something that's ridiculously simple. But what it does is it's a building block from which we can build all of our other tests, and so that should be like much faster, right? I think it's worth putting the hard work in early. Okay, so FS Jetpack is extraneous. Is it? You're using it there, mate. FS Jetpack is... Oh. Okay, I know why. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that's added to our package JSON, right? And now we get our test and our lint. Cool. And now can we yarn lint dash dash fix to fix as much as we can automatically? Dash dash fix. So it did. Look, automatically fix. Yarn run ESLint dash dash fix. Mate, are you serious? What's going on? JavaScript tooling strikes again. Okay. Hold on. Okay, well, you know what I'm going to look at this? I'm going to say, by fixing these errors, what? Okay. Huh. Oh, I see. Yo estoy estúpido. Okay, so that fixed everything it could. Let's just update our linting script. So it's supposed to be eslint dot, and you know what? I'm just going to throw the fix in there, right? Just save me a. Oh, thinking about it. Okay, so now everything that's it's complaining about is in the test, which yeah, okay. Expected JSON indent. We don't need that anymore. Don't need that anymore. Don't even need that anymore. Collapse that. Nice. Before each is not defined. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to go into our ESLint config and set some globals, and we will set before each to true, after each to true, and just to true, right? Oh, and expect. Let's put that up here. Cool. So we're just saying, like, we might use these words and we're not going to require them from anywhere. Just don't complain. They come from the ether, right? We just pull them out of nowhere. And that's because all of these come automatically when you run jest, so you don't have to require it. Okay, so if we run yarn test, we have a passing test, and what I'm going to do, I have one last thing to fix, and I'm going to old write if actually no, I'm not. Okay, cool. And then that dies as well, and now our test is starting to look a little bit more sane. And boom, passing test, passing lint, nice and clean. Is there anything we want to comment out? I think this all makes quite a lot of sense without any comments. I might just add a little comment here and just say helpers. And what we can do is we can actually pull these helpers out into their own file later if we need to reuse them. But I think this is good. This is good. All right, so that means a commit. When things are green, we commit, right? Okay. Now, if you remember rightly, we had our CLI actually set up as a submodule here, right? So the only thing here, the parent project hasn't changed, so we're actually not going to commit the parent project. We're actually going to go into the CLI, and let's reset back to master, but let's make sure we do a soft reset so we don't actually change anything in the file system. And what I'm going to do, I might bring this right up so you can see it past my pretty little face. And now let's have a look what we've done. Okay, so that should be ignored. So let's ignore that. Definitely want to commit that. And that. Cool. All right. So let's say this is updated config and switched from Mocha to Jest, right? And then here, added simple implementation of ingest with a G command, simple implementation of ingest command with tests and fixtures, right? And now we're gonna push that up. Cool. All right, so that's bringing us up to 10 p.m. But I think that was productive. I think we've got now a really good way to test our commands without a whole lot of code. We got rid of Mocha, and honestly, Mocha is just a bit substandard these days compared to Jest and Jasmine. And I think the industry is moving towards Jest for testing tools. So we do miss out on the helpers that OCLIF provide, but as you saw in the last stream, those helpers don't always work, so it's not a big deal. We're not missing out on much. Cool. All right. So tomorrow morning, I believe we will be doing some more game development. We're building a multiplayer game in Godot, and probably in the afternoon as well, but we'll see how we get on. Now, if you're interested in following either this project or the game we're working on, don't forget to follow the channel. Highlights will be going up on our YouTube, which you can find below. New streams will be notified on Twitter, which you'll find below. And if you're a developer, either app developer, game developer, and you want to join a community where we help each other and post issues that we're coming across and tips, there's a Discord that we're setting up. It's still relatively small, but I think it's definitely worth putting the effort and trying to get people to join and have a chat. If you have a particular problem that you get stuck with, I will be in the Discord and trying my best to help people. And if there's something really interesting, we might even bring it on stream, and we'll do a little bit of a session on stream and try and figure out how to code something or how to get past some sort of blocker that you have. So check out the Discord below as well. Lastly, we have a blog, sebthecat.com. There will be project summaries and any errors or tips I come across in my streams or as I'm developing, I'm writing it up in a markdown editor. Unfortunately, this one's not quite ready yet to use, but I'll be publishing those on the blog as well. So if there are any sort of little code snippets that I find really, really useful, they'll be going up there. So check out the blog. Otherwise, as usual, I would like to say have a good day. Take it very, very easy, and ciao.